everyone and welcome. My name is Lacey. You are joining me for a short prenatal self-massage class, ending with a little bit of yoga nidra. So we'll start today in a seat, so make sure that you have something to support yourself so that you can lift up through your spine. And you don't need anything for our class today. We'll just be using our hands. If you do have a tennis ball or a massage ball, a therapy ball, any of those things are great, but you won't necessarily need them for our practice. If you do have lotions or oils, you might use those. You might use coconut oil, something cooling if it's the summertime, maybe something like sesame oil, something warming if it's winter time. You might also throw in some essential oils, maybe some lavender, although if you're in the first trimester of your pregnancy, probably no smell is the best way to go. But you don't necessarily need any of those things. Again, all that you need is your hands. So to start, find your upright seat and take your two hands, join the pinky edges of your hands together, open your palms up to the ceiling, taking a gesture called Pushpapura Mudra. It means handful of flowers. Take this into about the center of your heart. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. And just imagine receiving a little bit of healing, warming energy into your hands. So as you breathe in, you can imagine receiving this into your hands. And as you breathe out, just imagine any tension, any stress releasing from your body. One more breath like that. Breathe and receiving into your hands. And then breathe out, let it go. Okay, let that go. Bring your palms together and give them a rub back and forth, creating a little bit of heat, creating a little bit of friction. We'll be starting with the head and working our way down. So if you are using any massage oil, you might want to include it after this first part so that you don't touch it onto your face. Rub your palms. Good. And then once you have a little bit of heat, a little bit of energy in your hands, let your hands go and then take your hands onto your scalp. And then just like you are shampooing your hair, gently draw your fingertips into all the spaces around your skull. So maybe circling the fingers around, just taking your hands into every part. Your palms could come alongside the temples. You could take your thumbs down towards the very base of your skull. You might find a little bit of tension there. So maybe just pausing a moment or two as you come to the point where your neck and your skull meet. Maybe pressing your thumbs just gently into that spot if you find some tension there. You could also do that, the space at the so maybe just going across that ridge. So maybe starting by the ears, and then moving in to the center, and then feeling what you feel. Good. And then let that go. Take your hands now, fingertips into the temples, and take a few circles here. As you do, just imagine relieving any tension that you're holding in this spot. Take your hands to your eyebrows. You can do thumb knuckles into your eyebrows and just draw the eyebrows out a few times. Again, draw them out. And draw them out, just massaging away any tension that you're holding onto in the brows. Take your two peace fingers on either hand, doesn't matter whether it's right or left, and gently press them into the center of your forehead. A gesture of quieting the mind. Maybe keep your eyes closed as you take your fingers now down to the jawline. Take a few circles around that space around the jaw. Space where the bone of your jaw meets the cheeks. Just releasing any tension there. As you're doing this, you might open, close your mouth a few times. Maybe stick your tongue out. Or releasing anything that you're holding onto. Maybe do that with a few clearing breaths out. So breathing in through the nose, and then stick your tongue out. And then in again through the nose. Stick your tongue out. Good. And then take your fingers to the fleshy part of your ears, space that might not get too much attention. And just massage out this place with your thumbs, with your fingertips. Moving your fingers back and forth. Go all the way around to the tops of the ears, massaging out. And then take your hands to the back of your neck. And then just gently wring out the muscles around the back of your neck. Now for all of this massage, you don't really want to go directly into the bony structure, so you want to avoid the cervical spine here, but anything muscular goes. And if there's any pain as you're doing this self-massage, know that the distinction between pain and sensation in massage is a little bit difficult to know all the time. So just because there is a lot of tension in these places that we're working out, you might feel some amount of pain, but that pain should be followed by a sense of release. Take your hands down to the tops of your shoulders. If you'd like to take your massage oil now and take that into your hands, you're welcome to, as we're getting a little more into the body parts. So again, that pain should be followed by a sense of releasing, a sense of letting go of tension, of built up stress in the muscles, the connective tissue. If that pain feels a little more sharp, intense, then that's not a good sign. You want to stay away from that kind of thing. You want to avoid those spaces that are causing that sharp, intense pain. If it feels like there's a sense of tingling, of numbness that's accompanied by it, you also want to avoid that. That means you're getting a little more into the nerves. So take your left hand now and take it to the side, the right side of your neck. You can keep your right hand on top of your right shoulder and then direct your chin down towards your left shoulder as you just gently wring out the top of your shoulder and your neck. And then switch to the second side, hand to the neck, hand to the top of your shoulder. You're just wringing this space out very gently. Take your head back through center, just aligning your ears over your collarbone so the crown of your head shoots up. See if you can find a nice tall spine, maybe even taller than before. And take your hands across your collarbones and then onto your upper arms. And just give your upper arms a few squeezes out. Notice anywhere that tension might be built up in the biceps and the triceps, and anywhere around the space. If you do come across any knots as we're massaging, feel free to pause and hold there for a moment or two, maybe taking your breath into that space. Take your hands down to the forearms, just squeezing them a few times. This is a great place to massage if you are experiencing any discomfort in the wrists. A nice massage on the forearms might feel nice. During pregnancy, there tends to be a little more carpal tunnel. There tends to be a little more wrist sensitivity. So just notice what you feel. And take your hands to clasp one onto the other as if you're shaking your own hand. Give yourself a few squeezes. Take the opposite orientation and give yourself a few squeezes out. Good, and then take your left fingertips, your first 3 fingers on your left hand, take them down from the wrist. And then wherever that last finger is, the third one, you'll keep it there. So it's about 3 fingers down from the wrist. And you can just gently press a thumb into that spot. So this is an acupressure point that's said to help with nausea, that's said to help with heartburn. Both are things that we tend to experience during pregnancy. So if you are experiencing nausea, it might be nice to hold this I've heard anywhere from like 2 to 3 minutes, but just use your gut to see how long this might feel good in your body, if it does. And then switch sides. So take your hand, first 3 fingers, draw them down to the center of the wrist. Wherever your 3rd finger landed, the one that's farthest away from the wrist, take your thumb there. You want to think about getting it into a point between 2 tendons in the center and just gently apply just a little bit of pressure. Holding for as long as you need. Good. And then we'll let that go for now. You can always come back to it if you need to. Take your right hand, take your left thumb into the palm of the hand and start to take a few circular movements around the palm. Moving over the wrist, over the base of each finger, over the knuckle pad. As you're doing that, as you're massaging out the fleshy part of the hand, you could also have your fingers into the back of the hand. You could explore any sensation that you might find there. Good. And then take your pinky finger and just gently draw it down towards the ground. So you're cupping it with your index finger and your thumb. Take your next finger, gently draw it downwards, stretching out the fingers. Next finger, gently draw it down. Point your finger, draw it down. And then your thumb, gently draw it down. And we'll take each of the fingers and lengthen them out. So lengthen out the pinky, lengthen out the next finger, the middle finger, pointer finger, and thumb. And then switch to the second side. So take your thumb into the palm of your left hand and start to explore all the fleshy parts of this space. Just giving your hand a nice massage. Again, as you are doing that, your other fingers can be into the back of your hand, massaging out any tension through the top of your hand. Come all the way to the base of your fingers, massage that spot as well, to the knuckle pads. And then stretch out of each of your fingers, starting with the pinky, gently drawing it down. And then the ring finger, gently draw it down. Your middle finger, gently draw it down. Into your pointer finger and to your thumb. And then lengthen each of the fingers, starting with the pinky to the ring, middle finger, pointer finger, and to your thumb. Then give your arms a brush off. So just sweeping the arms down. Good. Take your hands to your rib cage, and you want to get a sense of lifting the ribs out of the digestive organs, out of the belly. So ground your sits bones down, and with your arms, with your hands around the ribs, feel the ribs lifting, lifting, lifting. Good. You could stay here just cupping your hands around the ribs, or you could just gently take your fingertips, maybe in between the ribs. If that feels like too much, you don't have to do it. You can take your thumb, gently, gently, really softly in between the ribs. This part, especially as we get into the 3rd trimester, the ribs, especially the lower ones, can get a little bit tight as baby moves up higher and higher. Before baby drops down, that is. So just notice what you feel here in this moment, no matter where you are in your pregnancy. Good, and then take your hands to your mid-back, and you can take your fingertips not directly into the spine, but into the muscular part around the spine. Just wanna, again, avoid going into bones. And just gently work your fingertips into that muscular space, into the erector spinae. So that muscular space right outside of the spine. Work your hands down a little bit lower, moving towards the sacrum. Maybe giving the fleshy space around the sacrum a squeeze or two. You can either stick with that, just gently drawing the fingertips in, or you can make 2 fists with your hands and gently tap, tap, tap out your low back. And notice how that feels. Good. Take your hands to your belly now. During pregnancy, there's a sense of the center of the belly splitting apart. So there's a natural separation of the rectus abdominis. So to counter that, we'll do a little bit of the opposite, a little bit of gathering in energy. So you can take your hands around the belly and just gently gather in, applying very light touch here. Gently gather in, moving towards the navel. And again, gently gather in. Good. Then make a few circles around your belly, moving clockwise, so following the trajectory of digestion. Depending on where you are in your pregnancy, you might notice a reaction from baby to this. If you do, just notice. Babies can feel this touch, this loving energy. Okay. And then just let your hand go down below the navel. Take your opposite hand on top to cup it. Just close your eyes here. And for a moment, imagine sending your baby some love. Good. Take your hands and then take your hands into your hips now and start to massage out the sides of your hips. So getting a little bit into the tensor fascia lata. So getting a little bit into the TFL. Getting into anything that is tight, that is tender in this space. Again, looking for a release. Even if there is pain, you want to feel a release right after that pain. Good. Let that go. Keep your right shin forward and then set your left shin down so that your left knee comes into the right arch of the foot. Left shin moves back. And you want to ground your right sits bone down onto a surface. Make sure it is fully planted. This is where if you do have a therapy ball or a massage ball, it might be nice to take it not underneath the sits bone, not underneath the ischial tuberosity directly, but underneath the fleshy part here to get a little bit into the piriformis. But even if you don't have a ball underneath you, you can just be doing this on a blanket, on the ground. You'll just start to rock your hips a little bit side to side. Just massaging out the glute, massaging out the piriformis, massaging out any tension in this spot. Notice what you feel, maybe closing your eyes. So you're just rocking the left hip up and down, getting down into the right glute. Good. And then when you're ready, you can change your legs around to the second side. So left shin forward, right shin back. Ground down, especially through the left side. You can have your left fingertips out to the side. You can have your right hand to your hip to feel this movement. You're just rocking a little bit side to side, getting into the fleshy part of your bum. Again, it might feel nice to take tennis ball, therapy ball, even a rolled up pair of socks if you don't have that into this spot, if this is not enough tension or if this is not enough sensation, just directly down onto the ground. Good, just a few more. Let that go when you're ready, and then ground both soles of the feet all the way down to the ground in front of you. And you'll take your hands now into the outer thigh. You can take your thumbs into the IT band. So it's a line of connective tissue that's all the way from the knees up to the hips. This part of the body can get really sore if you tend to walk a lot. If you run, if you jog still during pregnancy, or if you're doing those kind of things, those kind of activities, or even just from carrying a little more weight as we do in pregnancy. So just massage out anything that you feel along this outer band of the leg. Again, maybe pausing in a spot if you feel any sense of tenderness, any sense of stuck energy. Just letting it go for a little release. If that feels like it's doing a lot, you could stick with that. You could also take your hands around the top of your thigh, top of the quadricep. Maybe just giving it a few squeezes. You could take your hands to the hamstrings, the backs of the thighs, maybe starting around the fold of your bum and then moving the hands up, or moving the hands down the hamstrings rather, towards the knees. Just giving a few squeezes down. Using palms, you can even use the tips of your fingers if the palms aren't enough sensation. And then we'll move to the calves now. So you can, doesn't matter how you orient your feet, it might feel nice to take butterfly legs with the soles of the feet in together. You can always shift your legs around. You'll take your hands into the calves. You'll take your two thumbs to press into the belly of the muscle. And the other fingers can be around the shin bone. You can just start to massage your thumbs into the belly of the muscle, into the fleshy part. And the calves do tend to get pretty sore during pregnancy. You might wake up with Charlie horses as you get into the second or so trimester. So this can be really nice to do before going to bed. Continue drawing the thumbs downwards. As you're doing that, you can also get your top fingers into the muscular space around the front of the shin, if that feels like there's some stuck energy there. We'll just spend a little extra time here because this is the part that can get pretty sore. Spend as long as you need, but when you're ready to switch sides, come to the second leg, thumbs into the meaty part of the muscle. Other fingers can be around the top of the shin bone. Start to gently draw the fingertips down the leg, noticing what you feel. And again, pausing any time that you feel a little bit of tenderness. Pausing any time that you feel any sense of stagnation, any knots that need to be worked out. Moving all the way down towards the ankle. Taking a few extra moments here. Good. When you are ready to let that go, give your legs a brush out just like you did with your arms. Sweeping them down, sweeping them down, sweeping them down. Now we'll take the feet. So you can take your feet back into that butterfly position, taking the soles of the feet together to touch, knees out wide. You can always have blocks underneath your knees if you want them for more support. We'll start with the left foot. So you can take your thumbs, again, into the arch of the foot. Now, doing a foot massage will not induce you into labor unless you really hold one of those labor points for a long amount of time. So that doesn't have to be something that you're worried about if you're not ready to go into labor yet. There are some acupressure points in both the leg and the foot that are said to potentially bring about labor, but again, that won't happen unless your body is ready and unless you're really holding, pressing into those points for a good amount of time with a good amount of pressure. So just use your intuition here as you're drawing your thumbs into anything that feels tender, anything that feels like it needs attention, and not holding too firmly, not holding too long. You can take your fingers, your thumbs, into the ball of the foot, maybe massaging around the fleshy part there. Into each of your toes, just as you did with the fingers, lengthening each one out. You might take your fingers to interlace around the toes. Give the ball of the foot a squeeze or two as you do. So squeezing as you're stretching out the space in between the toes. You might cup your hand around the heel a few times, just gently cupping. So one hand you're using as your massage hand, the other hand is just an anchor here. If that foot is really feeling tight, you could stay there a little bit longer. If you know that one has a little more tension than the other. Otherwise, you can switch the second one, taking your thumbs into the arches of your feet. Massaging out any tension, any tenderness in this spot. Taking your time here, really giving yourself attention to these feet that are probably carrying a little bit more weight than usual. They are working harder than usual. So just giving yourself a little bit of love here, a little bit of self-care. Your thumbs can come into the ball of the foot now, massaging out that spot. You can lengthen out each of your toes. Take your fingers to interlace in between the toes, cup the balls of the feet, and squeeze a few times. Again, stretching out each of the toes. And last bit is the heel. Cup the heel with the palm of your hand, finding that perfect fit. Give it a few squeezes. Right, and then brush off the legs. Now we'll integrate that with a short yoga nidra practice. So you can make your way down onto your left side. Maybe take a blanket, a cushion, a pillow underneath your left ear as you slowly lower yourself down. You can stack your shins one on top of the other. You could also have a pillow in between the thighs, a pillow in between the arms, or a pillow underneath the belly, or all of those things if that feels the most comfortable in your body. And let your body become soft here. Make sure your body feels fully supported. And let it become a little heavier into the mat. And let your eyelids become heavy. Let your body start to slow down. And you can imagine that, bring to mind that massage that you just gave your body. Notice how you feel in this moment. And imagine that you have warm, healing massage oil. It might be the scent of lavender. It might be your favorite scent. And just imagine taking it down the body. And as we take that massage oil down the body, just as we did in real life, you can imagine your body softening, relaxing, releasing even more. And so imagine the massage oil, that warm oil, starting at the center of your forehead, the third eye. Let that oil move over the back of your scalp, top of your scalp, into the back of your neck, releasing any stagnant energy that is still there. And let that warm oil move over your eyebrows, over the temples, over the eyelids, letting them become heavier, over the bridge of your nose, and cheekbones, over the ears, moving over the fleshy parts of the earlobes, down to the jaw, over the lips, over the chin,
over the front of your neck and sweeping over the collarbones. Let that warm oil move over the shoulders, coating, warming the upper arms, the elbows, forearms, wrists, palms of the hands and the tops of your hands. Let that oil sweep past your thumbs, second fingers, third fingers, fourth fingers, and fifth fingers. Now let that oil move over the center of your heart, over the ribs, over the upper back, the mid back, sweeping over the low back, massaging out the sacrum. Let it move over the belly, imagining those circles around baby. Let it move over your hips, the pelvis, base of your spine, the pelvic floor, over the tops of your thighs, the backs of your thighs, your knees, your calves, the fronts of your shins, over your ankles, your heels, arches of your feet, balls of your feet, tops of your feet, and then moving over your big toes, second toes, third toes, fourth toes, and fifth toes. Now imagine your entire body coated with warm oil. Let your body feel heavier in this moment. Feel weighted down by the oil. Like, can you feel a sense of lightness in your breath? And let the breath ease the body and ease the mind even more. And breathing in, you can feel belly rise. And you can feel that energy moving into baby. And breathing out, you can feel your belly soften. You can feel yourself releasing even more tension. And breathing in. And breathing out. Now notice what is happening in your mind in this moment. Just let any thoughts, any worries, any stress, any tension go. And instead, can you fill your mind with ease, with comfort, with relaxation, and with the sense that you are enough. That you deserve every bit of this self-care, of this self-compassion that you've taken the time to give yourself. Let those feelings flood your body. And then can you rest in that sense of self-love for another moment or two? And start to come back to sensation in your body, letting your breath become fuller. And letting your fingers wiggle, your toes wiggle. Notice how you feel in this moment and do whatever little movements that you need. Maybe stretching the top arm overhead, lengthening the top leg back. And then maybe using your arms, the strength of your arms, to lift you upright to seated. Come back into a long, tall spine, lifting up through the crown of your head. Hi, Blue. Bring your palms together to touch at your heart. Hi, Blue. Close your eyes for a moment. And thank yourself for taking this time for your own well-being. I thank you all for joining me for this practice today, and enjoy the rest of your day.